the Bose Sport Buds are the more affordable sibling of the QuietComfort ANC buds, but being $110 cheaper than those, what are you missing out on? What features do you lose? And is it worth the trade-off? Stay tuned to the end for my zero filter opinion on these, as my final thoughts will definitely surprise you, I suppose. Check the affiliate links below for the latest price on these. I bought these with my own money, so let's see if I regret that part or not. Okay, let's go. Hey guys, it's Mark here. Hope you're all staying safe and healthy. I'm back to sort the God tier from the garbage and let you guys know what's worth buying before you buy it. It looks like I'm gonna have to open the Bose QuietComfort buds once again for this review. Slap the like button to help me do the impossible and open these things. Thank you. When it comes to build quality and design, things are nearly identical here, and it's instantly clear that these were both based around the same design, which isn't necessarily a good thing. We've got the same plasticky finish, which is fortunately a little more acceptable on the Sport considering their price. Otherwise, there's zero design features here to really get excited about. The case is incredibly generic overall, just as it was with the QuietComfort buds. Okay, they do have a button which opens the lid, and I am pleased to report it is actually a lot better on the Sport, as it was pretty terrible on the QuietComforts and you really needed to press it very hard to even get it to open. You now don't need to press it nearly as aggressively to open them. A light press will do, whereas using the same amount of force on the QuietComfort sees them stay very firmly shut. So that's a rather unexpected, maybe unintentional improvement for the Sport here. As was the case for the case, the buds are also noticeably smaller, and though they still sit entirely out of your ears, they are at least 30% smaller than the QuietComfort buds. But don't get too excited yet, because though the case is smaller than the QuietComforts, it's still one of the bulkiest options around $150, truly pushing the limits of the term pocket friendly. Both buds have an IPX4 rating, which is fine for the QuietComfort, but when you hear the word sport in the name of something, wouldn't you expect a really good IP rating here? I mean, yeah, sweatproof is the minimum for working out, and they have that, but with an identical IP rating to the QuietComfort, how are these any more sport ready than the QuietComfort? Spoiler alert, they're not. But even still, putting that aside for one moment, there's no doubt that the Sport wins somehow in terms of build and design, despite being a lot cheaper, simply by being infinitely more compact and, for thankfully, fixing that annoying issue with the button on the case. In round 2, I'm looking at battery life, or lack thereof. The Sport offer 5 hours playback in a single sitting and 15 hours overall when factoring in the charging case, with the QuietComfort offering 6 hours playback with just 18 hours playback in total. Both have quick charging too, netting you 2 hours playback from just 15 minutes of charge, but only the QuietComfort have wireless charging. So yeah, the QuietComfort win here, and so they should, but considering how much bigger they are, buds and case, it's hard to really get excited about that. But how do they fit? Things are very similar here, despite the QuietComfort's larger size, and making zero claims of being suitable for sport. That's mainly because the actual body of the buds that sits in your ears are almost identical in size, as are the wingtips, and they help to keep these beastly buds more than secure, so yes, they're more than fine for workouts, even intensive workouts, with minimal movement during running, so I'm going to call this round a tie. Okay, so in the next round, I'm going to head out and test the microphone quality of the Sport and QuietComfort side by side, so you can compare them and decide for yourself which is better, and not just listen to me talking to you, giving you my opinion all the time. So hit subscribe, and let's do this. So here is a microphone test of the Bose Sport buds. There is a very big lorry going past me right about now. How about that for a microphone test? Could you hear my voice over that loud noise? Hopefully you could. I've heard that this microphone isn't the best, so you be the judge. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Let's test the QuietComfort buds next to see how they compare. And here is the microphone test of the Bose QuietComfort buds. You should be able to hear some improvement, or at least I hope you can, given the big price difference here. We've got some cars going past still. There's a bus about to go past in a sec, so we can hopefully compare that to the big truck
that went past as I was doing the Bose Sport. Here it comes right now. Can you still hear me? I'm just going to keep talking about absolutely nothing as it goes past. There it is. Anyway, let me know what you think of the comparison between the two. I'm going to head back to the studio now and let you know what I think.
Surprisingly, the mic quality on the Sport Buds actually offered more clarity and volume on my voice overall than the QuietComfort, which were quieter and more muffled by comparison. However, the QuietComfort definitely demonstrated better background noise reduction overall, handling a wider frequency of noises. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a rather unpleasant high-pitched noise at the end of the recording of the Sport,
Buds next to C,
which was actually only a bird chirping, just demonstrating how they struggle to reduce higher frequency noises and somehow even accidentally amplifying them in the process. But still, I'm going to call this round a tie as neither was perfect or terrible, though for me, I'd personally still take the QuietComfort Buds for reliable mic quality if I had the choice. So, in terms of functionality and usability as we get into round 4, it's a straight up clear win for the QuietComfort. For starters, they have Bluetooth 5.1, whereas the Sport have Bluetooth 5.0, but obviously it's not just that which tips this round in the favour of the QuietComfort Buds. This round is where the Sport really falls short of matching their more expensive counterpart and almost all other options around $150. The good news is that there is app support for both the Sport and QuietComfort, which I was really excited to see, and they offer the same additional functionality in both cases, which actually turns out to be the bad news, because there is no custom equalizer settings or presets. All you can do is turn on auto pause and play or turn it off, and you have the ability to set a double tap to skip a track or check battery levels, and that's all you get on the Sport Buds. Of course, with the QuietComfort, you can also toggle ANC and you've got self-voice settings too, but where's the custom equalizer settings? Or presets at least? As I'm sure you can see, unlike companion apps that Sony provides, complete with custom equalizer settings and a whole lot more, there's literally no reason to even open the Bose app once you've set up your buds initially, just offering the least functionality that an app could possibly offer. We've got ANC and transparency mode on the QuietComfort Buds, which I would 100% expect to see at their price point, and for what it's worth, it's pretty damn good. However, there's no ANC on the Sport Buds, which you might not expect at their price. But when you consider the Jabra 75T just got a free ANC firmware update and they're almost a year older, they're $20 less, that's pretty damning here for the Sport Buds. The Sport Buds seem to have terrible passive noise cancellation for some inexplicable reason too, meaning you can hear your surroundings way more than I've ever noticed in any other true wireless in-ear buds. Now, it doesn't get better because both are lacking multi-point pairing, and you might not expect that, especially in the Sport, but again, you can find that in the Jabra 75T and 85T, both at similar price points. Both buds are also lacking aptX, which I would especially expect to see in the QuietComfort, and they're missing volume controls on the earbuds themselves. To make matters worse, you can only skip tracks forwards, not back via the touch controls. I guess Bose expect you to skip through an entire album just to get back to a previous track? Okay, and the plot thickens here. There's another plot twist. Both the QuietComfort and Sport have auto pause and play when you remove one earbud from your ear, which is great, right? I love that functionality. But as seems to be the case with Bose earbuds in 2020, this also comes with its own caveat. In the Sport earbuds, you can only do that on the right earbud, so if you remove the left earbud, it doesn't do anything, the music still keeps playing, and that seems pretty mean-spirited. If you're gonna give us auto pause and play, don't cheap out and only make it work on one earbud. It should always work on both buds. It's basic stuff. But speaking of things that only work on the right earbud, no, I'm not done yet. As far as mono mode goes, you can only use the right earbud independently on the Bose Sport and QuietComfort buds. Once again, this is pretty poor at both a high and mid-range price point, being something that tons of $50 buds can handle without an issue. Even though this round was incredibly disappointing across the board, there's no denying that the QuietComfort win, and so they should, for $110 extra, which is 100% worth spending just purely for the ANC alone, in case you're wondering. However, it has to be pointed out that the Sony XM3 buds offer far greater functionality than both competitors for just $10 more than the Bose Sport. Before we get to sound quality, make sure you're following me on my personal Instagram and Twitter, where most people seem to enjoy commenting that I either look or sound like Simon Cowell. Links are in the description below so you can weigh in on that heated debate. Vote now. Don't forget to comment below what you want me to review next, as the comments below with the most likes will decide what I review next. Okay, let's talk sound quality. When it comes to sound quality, the difference between the Sport and the QuietComfort is like night and day. The QuietComfort buds offer full-bodied, punchy bass that livens up any genre and has excellent low rumble, but bass on the Sport isn't even slightly comparable. Okay, it can be punchy at times, but it's distinctly lacking in low rumble, making bass sound very one-dimensional, especially on tracks without a lot of bass to start with. Mids are great on both sets of buds, remaining at center stage at all times, but because of the weak bass on the Sport, this does make the mids sound a little more pushed forwards and lacking in detail as a result. Highs on the QuietComfort are exceptionally crisp, offering that little extra sparkle you'll only find above $200. In contrast, they're again way too pushed forwards on the Sport, lacking in detail once again, that being the final nail in the coffin here when it comes to sound quality. I mean, rock music with heavy crash cymbals, hi-hats, screeching guitars, and fairly minimal bass, it just really highlights that weakness, and to be honest, they sound like some buds that cost $50 to $70. The QuietComfort buds win on sound quality by a mile here, and though these buds look very similar, the sound is nothing alike at all. I'd even go as far to say that at this price point, the Sport buds actually sound awful, and certainly nothing worth dropping $160 on, or even $100 on for that matter. Worst of all, there's no equalizer settings or presets to even remotely save face here. So it's time for my final thoughts, and I'm going to take things right back to that first question I asked in the first 10 seconds of the video. What are you losing out on by opting for the Bose Sport? Well, you're losing a little battery life and getting a slight downgrade in Bluetooth. No big deal so far, right? But then, when you remember you're also sacrificing ANC, transparency mode, auto pause and play in your left ear, and then sound quality, there's no reason to really ever consider buying the Sport buds when compared to the QuietComfort. But okay, they don't match up to the QuietComfort buds and they probably shouldn't, but how do they compare to other options at a similar price point? Because that's more of a fair fight, right? Now, in case I hadn't made this clear enough already, the Bose Sport buds are one of the worst buds around the $150 price point in terms of sound quality and general functionality. For example, the Jabra 75T offer better sound quality, better battery life. They are far more compact, like not even comparable. They have multi-point pairing, auto pause and play on both buds. They have ANC and they're cheaper. So no, definitely do not consider buying these over the QuietComforts any day ever, or any other options at a similar price. If you want to know my final thoughts on the QuietComfort versus competitors at their price point, you should definitely check out my full review of that by clicking here, or you can check out my review of the Jabra 75T compared to the 85T, which are far superior to the Bose Sport by clicking here. So pick one of those and I'll see you in the next video.